Let's go to the back page of The Sun. Nolan, I'll come to you. The headline, Vik, a £63 million United snip. It is Viktor Gyökeres pictured with Ruben Amorim after that emphatic win over Manchester City, where Gyökeres got the hat-trick. And Martin Blackburn reports Manchester United could land Viktor Gyökeres for a knockdown £63 million, but face a fight with Real Madrid. What chance do you think Manchester United getting this striker, Nolan? What do you make of the link? I think they have an excellent chance of landing him. There is a key quote, I think, from the sport manager that says Viktor Gyökeres has to stay, I think, until the end of the season, and then his life will change. Given who he's worked for the last 2 seasons, given who he's flourished with, he's 26 years old. It's more or less a goal a game in Portuguese football, and in Europe with the team of, I think, 66 goals in 67 games. He has moved dramatically on from the centre-forward that did well at Coventry. But I don't think anybody quite foresaw that a couple of years down the line after leaving England, he'd be coming back as a potential Manchester United centre-forward. But he's scoring goals. He has a manager that understands how to, or will have a manager at Old Trafford that knows how to get the best out of him. If they're going to land a centre-forward for 60 million when you consider how much they've spent in recent years, and they just look so fragmented and so blunt in front of goal at the minute, this to me seems like a real no-brainer. At the minute, you're looking at Højlund and Xerxes, and you're looking at centre-forwards that just aren't yet reliable enough to carry that load of being Manchester United centre-forward. They need firepower. This is somebody that will kind of be in a real hurry to get back to England, because at 26, he should be in his prime. A real good kind of example here of the advantage of removing yourself from the spotlight of English football, certainly, and then developing yourself in a good European league, increasing your reputation. Obviously, it's gone down great with a hat-trick against Manchester City, and yes, I expect him to be in the Premier League next season. A lot of physical attributes likened to Rasmus Højlund as well. United and Chelsea, we saw there in the mirror in hunt for Pep Destroyer Victor. We'll get to this story in the Telegraph in just a what do you make of that? Who would need him more, and who do you think he'd be more likely to move to out of Manchester United and Chelsea? Well, I suppose Chelsea have this abundance of forwards they've signed in the last 2 years, basically, whereas United feel thin there with 2 forwards who are lately misfiring. But that's actually where there's an interesting variable to this, and something that I understand did come up in Amorim's discussions with United, where obviously his work on Viktor Gyökeres is one of the kind of many virtues of his career so far, along with those titles. But these are goals that propelled some of those trophies. And the wonder now, I suppose, at Old Trafford is whether he can have a similar effect with Højlund and Xerxes. It's a different context, of course, and also Gyökeres has the benefit of getting to play at a crucial age of development in a more forgiving league. Well, that doesn't mean the coach can't have some impact on what they can do. At the same time, given their issues, given their goals record this season, it is tempting when you see that record. And look, obviously the player himself is going to feel a bit of a loyalty to Amorim now for what he's done for his career. And like there was a sense with that comment from Amorim as if it wasn't necessarily just a slip of the tongue, it's hard, I think. Does he know a bit more? Yeah, Manchester United have some cash as well, but 23 goals in 15 games. I suppose Rasmus Højlund could be encouraged, maybe not fearing from it as an inspiration, because the story is good, isn't it? We saw that piece by Sam Dean. Let's quickly get back to that in the Telegraph. Gyökeres' miracle from lower league dud to outscoring Haaland. I saw some Manchester United fans, Martin, concerned that Dan Ashworth may have let him go at Brighton to Coventry. My Coventry supporting producer probably thinks Mark Robins deserves credit for the transformation in Viktor Gyökeres. But this is a story of hope, isn't it? I think. Don't you think this one, Martin, that perhaps all players, there's no need to give up if you haven't quite realized your potential in your early 20s? No, absolutely. Did Rodney Knox cite his father when he won the Ballon d'Or last week, who said, don't give up now, keep going? So I think that every player you speak to has had periods where there's been doubt from outside and certainly perhaps internal doubt. I think when he first went on loan to Coventry, I'm sure he only scored about 3 goals for them in half a season. So he didn't go there and set the world on fire. And even then, in the following 2 seasons, it was less than 40 goals across the 2 campaigns. A good tally by any stretch of the imagination, but not enough at that stage to make the Premier League clubs come and look at him. And I'm sure they will have spotted him at that point. As Miguel says, he's gone to a league that's not as demanding. You're not in the public eye and you've got a real up-and-coming coach. You've developed your game. So as I said, I expect him to come back to England this summer, but it's a great example that a couple of setbacks in your career don't mean a great deal. You can still come back. As I said, I've talked to loads of players and they've had down moments and one coach has found something. I remember talking to Robert Lee years ago and I said, would you have got 20 caps for England if Kevin Keegan hadn't been your manager? And he said, no chance. He said, you have to find a manager who loves you and believes you. And he said, that will propel you to much greater achievements. Indeed, and Andy Cole was well around that era, wasn't he? Sort of certainly transformed his career in his early 20s at Newcastle. Now, the Striker Times, by the way, reporting 63 million Gyökeres as well. Striker, who led route of Man City as gentleman's agreement with Sporting Lisbon, but